people of all ages, 18 and above. It is now time for another episode of the Fiber Forecast. We are on volume 6. We are just banging these things out. And today, we have my favorite celebrity. I need y'all to make some noise. Hey, I'm talking to you in the background. Make some noise for Miss TeeKay.
What's up, y'all?
There we go. There we go. That's an entrance. That is an entrance. Hold on.
What's up, peoples?
Let me get us over here so we can be seen by the lovely peoples. Look at us. Look, this is my favorite celebrity, y'all. One of the hardest
Be
working,
professional and stuff.
right? One of the hardest working professional black women I've met in my life.
Aww.
This is Miss TeeKay. You know, she made some time out of her busy schedule to, to come in and let us know, what she got going on. She's one of the top fiber executives. So she's really look, you wear it. Look, adjust your crown, queen. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? One of the top fiber execs here.
Wait a minute, I got a crown.
There you go. Don't take it off either. We in there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out, shout out to everybody that's behind the scenes holding it down for the team, making the decisions, you know what I mean? Really looking out for the team, keeping the empathy high, the morale high. We really appreciate you. And I just want to take that time to say, my favorite celebrity.
Oh, thank you. Fuzzy.
All right. Well, enough of me. I'm going to give you some time to introduce yourself and, what you do.
I am Miss TeeKay. I am one of the creative directors in the behind the scenes. Well, not really so much behind the scenes. I don't think I could be behind the scenes too much. But, one of the ones that make things happen as far as like networking and stuff and getting us out there. And then the team, y'all do y'all thing, in front of the peoples and stuff. But I am also an entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur. So I have a business called Tamshandcrafts. Originally started with me doing my own personal art therapy for myself. I was going through something, and back in 2019, well, just to be transparent, I was going through a divorce, and I started Tamshandcraft by just making stuff just to kind of cope, and it led me all the way up to now where I am an art wellness coach. And I help mentor different people, including my team. I am now going to different organizations and, using art wellness in a mental health capacity. So I am a international speaker. I went to Greece last September and spoke in Greece about my life and how art has impacted me. And then I am a performing poet. I'm actually adding on a play. So I will be in a new play, The Slam. It's like a poetry type of slam play that'll be at the Baltimore Center stage on April 5th. And so I am just a multidisciplinary artist. I don't like to box myself in. I'm a creator, I'm a seamstress, I'm all of the things. And I'm a natural hustler. So I will make things happen so that I can stay full-time entrepreneur. So that's me.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you a question. As far as what influenced your entrepreneurial spirit, what would you say was one of your earliest influences? Would you say growing up you were constantly in environments where that was being displayed or being impressed upon you, hey, this is important? Or was it something you just kind of were I just naturally was drawn to it?
No, I definitely think it was genetics. My mother was
Fair.
My mother was a cosmetologist. Mm-hmm. So she was a business owner, but then my dad, he was a super kingpin. At a very young age, he became a kingpin at 23. And so that's kind of very, it's good and bad. the fact that he was able to do that and have over 100 people under him at such a young age. But then he also was a manager at Murray's Steakhouse. This is old. We don't even have that anymore. I don't even know when the last time I seen Murray's Steakhouse. Mm-hmm. But so he had a lot of entrepreneurship mindset. And so when I was a little girl and my dad was locked up, he would send me articles of Black women in business, and he would have me read them, and I didn't like it. Evidently, I've read them because it impressed on me so much, and I still remember them. But at the time when he would send me those articles, when he would write me letters, I was like, why is he sending me this? Like, I'm still a kid. Like, I don't need to know how to do this. But I did work for a long time having a boss. And I don't like workplace politics. And I kind of, yeah. And I kind of move at my own beat of my drum. So I don't really, I won't say I don't do too well in that environment, but I just too much of a free spirit. Like, I need the flexibility. So being my own boss, I've always had businesses. Like, raising my children, I would be crocheting, making hats, blankets. I would just always do something to make me extra money. I used to sell Mary Kay. Then I used to sell paparazzi jewelry. I had a team with that. So that showed me that I had good leadership skills. And then when I did work at a famous hospital in Baltimore, I had excellent leadership skills because I would train some of the residents that came into our department. And I was on a nursing staff. So, the nurse relied heavily on me with different systems and just helping them in the clinic. So you would think that I was a nurse, but I wasn't. I just had really good, like, personal skills as far as like working with people and stuff like that. And so when I left that hospital, I started a cleaning business. I am not taking any new clients. I am very selective in my clientele.
As you should.
As you should. I don't just work for anybody. So,
right. Pay us our money.
Yes. So I'm very selective in who I choose to be my clients. So I'm not taking any new clients. But I do clean. One of my main income is cleaning. But those are businesses that I have so that it can support my artistry. Because I'm going to be rich. I'm already rich. So.
You know what? It's funny because I was going to ask a follow-up question, but you kind of answered it. I was going to say, like, outside of, like, the entrepreneurial hustle, when you decide to work or take on a project, what's, like, your train of thought for it? Like let's say if you were, because you spoke of cleaning, if you were to take on, like, a cleaning project, what's your mentality on that? Because I always find it interesting that us as entrepreneurs, we set our own schedule and we get to prioritize our work day. So I was just wondering, like, if you had to clean, like, 2 rooms, not, mild cleaning tomorrow, what would be your thought process for, like, setting up the day of and the day before? Like, how do you prepare for these types of things? I guess is a better way to phrase it.
Sure. So I prepare beforehand. So when I first started cleaning, I would just go to jobs and I didn't know what I was walking into. And so after that happened to me, it was one time, it was literally like the second cleaning job I had. I didn't set up a template. So when somebody reaches out to me for me to clean, I'm asking them, what is the assignment? How much time? Because I will let them know my rate and how much time do they expect. And then I need to know exactly everything that needs to be done. I don't need no pop-ups, so what is your primary, what do you really need done? And so I let them know my time frame. I do not like working before 11:30. I'm not a morning person. So I need that extra time in the morning to kind of prepare myself mentally for the day. And so like that's very essential. Now I will work earlier, but I do still have to prepare my mind. Um, that's very important to me, because I know like working a regular job, and I had to be to work at like 8:30. Like I would just be going in, I felt like a zombie, like this. I just to waking up, and it's so I have to prepare my mind. If I'm going to do something before 11:30, I need to be prepared for that mentally. So I gotta like, okay, tomorrow, you got to go to work. That's my real name. You, you got to go to work at this time. What you're gonna need at this time or whatever. What's gonna make you feel good. So I need to like prepare my day because I don't like to be disgruntled. And everything has a purpose. I just don't do anything without a purpose. If it don't feel right, I'm not gonna do it. So like even if it's like close friends and family members, I normally do not work with them, because I'm I'm very professional when I'm working, and so I don't need any conflict of interest. So if there's a conflict of interest, I can't do it, and I'm just not going to accept it just because I'm going to get money. I rather not get paid than to work with somebody and damage any relationships. So those are essential. But yeah, so I need to know how much time they need me there, what the job is, and then I'll let them know, what I can do because I do have other things that I do.
Right.
So just to prepare, and I'm not a person that just has jobs like I'm just available anytime. Like
Right.
I'm not on welfare. So
Right.
I have jobs to do. So I can't just you can't just call me like, can you come over here tomorrow? I'm probably not gonna
So you need
take the job.
a lot of scheduling and preparation.
Yeah. And I do have a calendar. And I technically just use my Google Calendar on my phone,
Mm.
and I will just I'll plan it out. Like you may get me within 3 days, and depending on the job, or if not, I'll let you know when I have more time to dedicate to it because I'm going to give my clients and anybody I work for the quality that they need out of me. Like if I'm not in a good mindset, it's even cleaning because I think of everything that I do is spiritual.
Mm.
So even me cleaning is something like I'm in someone's home, and I am very particular about even not bringing people with me, which I think has sort of been a little downfall for me cleaning, because I probably could have had more jobs.
Mm.
But I don't just bring anybody into someone's home because I look at my clients as my family. So I don't even steal. Like I don't care if it's a penny on the floor, a hairpin or something. You just have a whole bunch of stuff that you had on your floor on your dresser or in the bag. And I'll put it in the bag. I'm like, y'all gonna have to sort through this. But I don't steal. So I'm very particular about who I work with. And it's normally my youngest daughter, Lyric. She works with me a lot,
Shout out to
cleaning.
Lyric.
Yeah. She's a great cleaner too.
Well, look, I don't want to
So
just kind of, compact you just to cleaning. You own a multitude of other business, one of which is
yeah,
Tamshandcrafts, right?
yeah,
I've,
yeah.
I've, I've, I've definitely patronized that quite a few times myself. I still have some stuff in my closet over here. I mean, so
Yeah,
you want to give like a little, shout out about what that's about and where people can find it and how
yeah.
that works?
So originally, I started Tam Handcrafts, and the thing is that everything has a purpose. And when I originally started Tam's Handcrafts, I didn't know what it was going to entail, and it was times that I took breaks to try to figure out like how is this going to manifest into what it needs to be, like how what am I birthing? So originally, I started it as art therapy for myself, coping, and it I would just make jewelry. I'm a big upcycler, so I like taking things apart and putting it back together. I like making things look new, and a lot of those projects I done with my children growing up. I've always incorporated art in everything that I do, and I think that everything that I do is artistic. Even me cleaning, but and even just everything that's surrounding me is art. So I started that, and I would just my first event was at the FYBR Festival, and
Salivo.
I
Shout out
have
to Salivo.
yes, that was my first event. And so I have continuously supported being at the FYBR Festival. It's just kind of sort of like an anniversary for me. So it's like it's a sentimental thing. But that's how I originally started. And I was selling fabrics, I would spray paint t-shirts, I would just do a whole bunch of stuff. And then the pandemic happened. And then I started making masks. And I had like all of these masks I was making. I had a website and all of this stuff. And so then the mask calmed down, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just know that I'm always making stuff. So everything that I make with Tamshandcrafts, it's coming from a place of like therapeutic.
Mm.
Because mental health is very, very, very important to me. And I take extreme measures to make sure that I stay well mentally as well. So I'm very in tune with myself. So because of that, my mom had a mental illness when I was growing up, and I was a caregiver to her, a child caregiver. And so I developed some things as well mentally, and because anxiety is a learned behavior,
It is.
and that's something that I had actually, and brought on, like it just came about. And so that's something that I do struggle with, anxiety and panic. But I try my very best to like work on myself with that. Taking, if I have to go to therapy or like group counseling or anything, I make sure that I do that. And so me being in those environments actually let me know that that was my purpose. So sometimes we think like bad things happen to us that is just bad, or is unfortunate, but it has a purpose in it. And so being in those environments actually let me know that this is something that I want to do. I've been training all my life, with my mom, and so it actually prepared me, and it's something that I really truly love. And so how do I incorporate art and mental health? And that's where the art wellness coach came in, because I realized that a lot of artists do have mental illnesses, and um, the art actually helps us cope, and it's different forms of artistry, writing, because I'm a writer, I'm an author, poetry, songwriting, but then you have music, like you're a producer, so like that is art, just listening to the sounds of the instruments. And I love music. Music is like my first love. So and I can sing a little bit, but I wish that I could sing like, Whitney or something like that. But it's and in my soul I do, So but yeah, so art, coloring, painting, all different forms of artistry. So that's why I don't like to box myself in, because I have an array of things. And I'm a fashion designer, so
You
I can
literally do
sew.
everything. You
I
literally,
literally, yeah,
like I
I
could
do.
literally come to you for everything. Like
Yeah,
literally, you do
I think
everything
that's
but
the
fix
mother
the
hubbard in
plumbing.
me.
Everything but
Well,
fix
not
the
the
pipes.
manly stuff. I don't like doing the manly stuff. Can do it, but I prefer to let a man do those things.
That's fair.
So,
Well, let me ask you this real quick question, because
yeah.
you've kind of been touching on a lot of different topics, just in like just you giving your backstory and answering some other questions. I noticed that you spoke on how the mental health and all of that culminates within the artistic expression. How
Mm-hmm.
how how do you on an individual level, and also because you said you want to be able to help others, how would you as an individual and helping others be able to express yourself artistically but also achieve that level of commercial success? Because we all know to a degree there's only so much expression that we can have in a commercial or corporate setting before
Mm-hmm.
it's deemed negative connotations. You know, so I was asking because like you said, you've done a lot of jobs. You worked in corporate. You worked for people. You prefer to work for yourself. You know,
Yeah.
you've learned a lot of stuff in growing and in your journey. So
Hmm.
how do you, I guess, what's your outline of how that works for you? I guess is the best way to answer because it's really more. I really more want to understand that.
Is an alignment thing.
Fair.
You can't work with everybody. And if you two don't align together, then it don't align. It just won't work, you know. And so choosing that, and I'm big on intuition. Like I said, like a lot of, everything. I want to make sure my head's right. Okay, cool.
You look glorious, Queen. You look glorious.
um, it's alignment, and like I said, like you'll know if it's a right fit or not, or if it's just for a season. I have worked with different people, and it was good while it was good, and then it was time to move on. And so knowing that, because I don't think that nobody has you meet is you not it was not for a purpose.
Right.
So there's a purpose for things, and then you'll see whether that's something that you can continue with, or you may not even need to go into that. There is a lesson in that, and so choosing that, but using your intuition. That's how God talks to us, and so I'm really big. Like I I I call myself slow,
Mm-hmm.
but not in the like dumb slow. I just but just like like just take your time, like just kind of just like feel into it, and if that's something that you feel that you can do, or if it's a benefit, or if it has a purpose in your life, then try it. I'm a free spirit, so I try things, but it has to go along with my purpose, and how it makes me feel is how I align with it.
Well,
I don't know if that makes sense.
no, it does because I actually want to ask another question. So, based off of those things for you, when you make business decisions, how has that changed the trajectory of your career or entrepreneurial livelihood? I guess would be a better way to say it.
So, in me doing it that way, I am really literally relying on God. And, I don't want to make this a spiritual, religious type of thing, but it's going by faith and not by sight. And so I can take whatever jobs I want, even in art, um, or, any kind of business, a venture, but it needs to align. And then not only does it need to align, I am moving by faith. So there are times that I don't have a job, um, and then I may do something else. So I'm always kind of preparing myself. So I'm also a reseller. So I sell on different platforms. So there are times that maybe I don't have a job at the moment, but then somebody will buy something out of my shop. So I have multiple streams of income, and I think as an entrepreneur that is essential. You can't just do just one thing. You gotta monopolize off of different avenues of things that you're good at. So I'm basically using what I'm good at,
Mm-hmm.
and making money off of it. But I don't accept any money. I do give stuff away free. I do sometimes, may take a job that I feel is necessary, but it may not make me as much money as it would at somebody else's facility that I'm getting less hours. So I may work longer hours for the amount that I would do in 2 hours, and maybe do it for 4 to 6. But it just all depends on, how it is. Like if it's like a single mom, and I'm not saying single moms reach out to me, but it just has to, I have to feel like there's something, like I listen, and like I said, like my intuition, I listen to God talk to me, and that's just with everything in my life. And so if it just don't feel good, I don't move with it. If it tell me not to go down that street, I just listen to myself. I really really try to be in tune, and I don't get things right all the time, but most of the time. So,
Most of the time, it's funny.
most of the time.
Well, I was gonna say like, because you were talking about other things that are, having multiple streams of income and having other skills. What skills do you think are underrated skills that you feel like people in your position or who want to be entrepreneurs should either invest in or be pursuing?
The things that I'm doing,
Like skill wise, like how, like.
so I think
Go ahead.
I think the things that we feel like we are bad at, or even things that we've done when we were children that we got in trouble for, are our superpowers. It's just that we got to engage in it the right way. So, like, we was having a conversation about when we was younger and we get spankings, and I'm like, I didn't really get spankings, but I got popped in the mouth all the time, and it was like, well, everybody knows I talk a lot. Well, I've always been a talker, so it just makes sense for me to be a public speaker because I'm always just trying to inspire people. So that's a skill that I'm doing, whereas it seems, mediocre to someone, but there are people that are getting paid thousands of dollars to go and speak for an organization. And so if that's something I always want to do anyway, I could just start talking and just keep going. I can find something to talk about. I don't care what it is. Like I'll just start talking. And that's how I was as a little girl. I just talk all the time. And so it just makes sense for me to be a speaker. So I think, embracing that avenue of speaking, we always got a life story. And the thing about our stories and the things that we went through is not just our story. And Dr. Cheryl Wood, she kind of, visualized that. And that was something she always would speak about in the GSU community, is that our story is not our own. We go through those things, but it's also to teach other people, and sometimes those examples are good and sometimes those are bad, but how do you overcome it after you go through it? And so whatever moment you in now, how you've grown, maybe like 2 years ago, you're now able to talk to people who are in those shoes that you were in 2 years ago. So it's always a lesson that you can, give to someone and be an inspiration. So I think speaking is one. I'm guessing.
All right. So I got a couple of industry and business questions for you. All right.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. So what's something that's a common myth that you hear in I'll say, because you're in a lot of different circles. So I would assume what's the most common thing you hear people say in their search for like some type of mental health or stability? Because you've been really, really focusing and honing in on that lately. So what's like
what's a misconception?
What's like a common misconception that people have that they normally are trying to get through when they're seeking some sort of help?
It is the stigma. I think the stigma holds a lot of people back. How other people is going to view them, or even the thought that they are crazy, or they don't think they as bad, or they don't really need it. And I think that really holds people back. I really believe that it makes you suffer in silence. Because you really could be getting the help. And even if it's just, maybe if you're not as bad as someone who is really, really struggling, it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to get that support. And just being transparent, I've had episodes this winter where I had, to seek additional help and support. And I think that was the best thing that I done for myself. Whereas years ago, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have took those measures because of being scared of how the place would be, going into a mental place, and a mental hospital or anything like that. I think that me actually realizing that I needed to take those steps to just get back on track. Sometimes you just need to get back on track. It don't mean that you as bad, but you just need to get back on track, to just get the support so you won't go down the rabbit hole of being worse, you know, and being suicidal and stuff like that. Just kind of really like, but it also calls for self-love, because that right there is self-love and it's self-care. You know, like I don't care what anybody say, is no normal person.
Yeah.
Nobody's
I don't
normal.
believe it either. I don't believe that
You
at
know,
all.
it's nobody's normal, and so it's okay, you know. And I think that where I was at mentally, for me to be someone who is a big advocate for mental health, and even calling myself an art wellness coach, you know, when I went into those environments where I needed to seek the additional mental health,
Mm-hmm.
I was actually support to the staff. You know, I was support. I was even volunteering in the capacity, which was very interesting. But I didn't allow what I'm struggling with to prevent me from being who I am, you know. And I am an inspiration. I know that, you know. I know that I'm gifted in this area, but I do still struggle, you know. And so,
Well, speaking of
just
struggle, I wanted to ask you something
mhm,
real quick. Like, what were
mhm.
some obstacles that were like that you faced in the struggle that kind of helped make you who you are today? It doesn't have to be anything super like, you know, specific, but just, you know.
So I think people don't realize that we all have some form of PTSD.
Yeah, I believe
Um,
that. Yeah, and I
you
also think
know,
we have some sort of like irritable depression, because people forget that
yeah,
having an attitude all the time is irritable depression.
yeah,
People
yeah,
forget
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And being like getting offended a lot,
Yes.
you know, like if you're somebody that just everything just gets to you, or you always got a bad day, everything is always sad, like yeah, it's okay to get that checked out. It's okay to take a pill for that. It's okay. You know, don't nobody got to know your personal business, but it's okay if you do. You know, and so my struggle, I would say, was mostly a lot of things with my mom, because I think when you're dealing with a family member or friend or anyone who has a mental illness and you don't understand it,
Mm-hmm.
they are going to do some things and say some things that is really going to sting, is going to hurt, is going to be like, oh my God, why would they say that? They're the worst person ever. And it took me a long time to forgive my mom for having a mental illness. And I think that it took me all throughout my 30s to deal with that. And my mom was hit by two cars when I was pregnant with my
Ooh,
youngest daughter. And
my lord.
so I saw her body there. And this year was really difficult for me in that area because I'm the same age as my mom was when she passed away. And so it was like so many great things happened this year. And that's another thing of being in gratitude, even when amongst going through stuff. Because we had the festival. I
Right.
went to Greece. You know, I spoke in Greece. I went to North Carolina and spoke. Or I was a part of a book anthology. You know, like it's so many things that happened this year. In this year of being 39, that I'm very grateful for, and
You said
and even
29?
how the 30, huh?
You said 29?
I'm 39, baby. I'm
Oh
39.
my
I'm gonna be
gosh.
40.
She
I'm be
looks
40
so
in less than
young.
2 months. I mean, less than 3 months. Yes, less than 3 months. Yeah. So I'm gonna be the big 4-0. So I was running. I want to just like run past this 39,
Mm.
you know, but going and getting you know, seeking assistance with my mental health actually helped me to bond closer with my mom, you know, and realize that she's still here with me in spirit. Like, you know, I look in the mirror, I look just like my mother, I'm shaped like my mom, and a lot of things that I do is from things that my mom did. And so instead of looking at it as a bad thing, you know, I'm embracing who she was, you know, and living out her legacy because she's not here anymore. And how do I represent her? You know, how do I represent my sisters, because I'm the oldest child? How do I represent my siblings? How do I represent my grandmother? And how do I represent myself as a mother? You know, and so the one thing my kids know, that I may fall, I'm gonna get back up,
Mm.
you know, and I
Mm.
may need to sit down there for a while and get, you know, catch my breath, Like,
Y'all
but
heard that?
I'm gonna get back up. Yeah, I'm gonna get back up, and
Y'all
so
heard that.
that's very important to me to get back up. And so, different challenges. Even being a mom was a challenge. Yeah, a lot of things I would say
I was gonna say,
was a
would you say
challenge, but
most of the experiences with your mom, they were like kind of a core defining moment in just how you approach, like, I guess your craft and like your passion for what you do now, I would say, based off of
so
everything I heard you say. Yeah.
it's very interesting. My mom was a big grounder, and I don't even know if she knew she was grounding.
Mm-hmm.
But by me being a caregiver to her when I was younger, I went on these adventures with her. So she would be taking these long walks. My mom loved warm drinks. She would doodle. So I even realized that how I doodle is the same way my mom doodle. I even realized certain movements I do, even with my hand, or sleeping and stuff, is a lot of things that my mom did. And so, like, grounding is very, like, I love grounding. Like, I need to go outside. I need to put my feet in the grass. I need to be in nature, but I just love adventures. Like, we all went on an adventure yesterday. I wanted to go to the store. We wanted to go to the store to get some candy, but then I wanted to go around
All the way.
where it was like a windy road, and then the pretty houses, and then, like, the nature, and I saw the waterfall. And then I want to go to, if I'm going to go to a liquor store, I want to go to a nice liquor store, not a corner store liquor store where you can't, like, touch stuff. Like, I want to go and I want to be able to touch it and get the pretty bottles. And I just love an adventure. So I just let my life be an adventure. And I think my mom incorporated that. Like, she would always go on adventures. Like, she always would just get up and go. My grandmother would call us a road runner, but we were on adventures. And I think I love that my mom did that. She was trying to maintain her mental health, but she took me on those adventures, and these are things that I still do that she has done. And even, like, she did arts and crafts with me when I was little, and those were things that I did with my children. I always try to incorporate art in everything. So, Lyric, if she got in trouble, she ain't had no toys, she would make toys out of paper. Like, it was always something to figure out artsy. So art has just always been a coping tool for me, and that is something that, I kind of, well, not kind of, that is something that I really try to get people to see. What is things that you really like to do, or what are things that you're bad at, because those things are really your superpower, and you just need to channel it into an appropriate thing you can do. Like, really, like, see how you can. And everybody is not going to be an entrepreneur. We could not live in this world if everybody was an entrepreneur. There are
No.
people that just have to work.
Somebody has somebody has to be on time.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be me.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
I'm not
Somebody
it.
has to
I'm
work
not
in the
it.
grocery store.
I'm
Like,
not
somebody
opening
has
it.
to work in the hospital.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not. No, I'll be late to my
yeah,
own surgery if I had a choice.
yeah, that part. Yeah. So we need people to work. I'm just gifted where I don't necessarily, I can figure out another way to do it. So,
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna ask some more artistic based questions. So we're gonna get into that other side. The side that you be designing and fuzzing and Tam's handcrafting. Link down
yeah,
below in the description. Sponsor
description
alert. Sponsor alert. Sponsor alert. Use code Z3 go bang to get nothing.
Hey.
No, I'm playing. You're gonna get everything. Just pull up though. Y'all really need to check out Tam's Handcraft. I might actually order something on stream tomorrow just because people think I don't do things. I say.
Oh.
Not y'all, but them. Somebody was daring me yesterday. They know who they are. They in chat. I see you. But I got some definitely. See this. I put some time into this one here because you kind of already gave me some defining moments. I wanted to ask you creatively, as like a spiritual, as a woman, as a spiritual entity, as a human being. How has your creative process evolved over the years, and what was like influencing the change? It could just be one moment. Don't have to be all.
Yes. So, and this is probably like an ongoing thing that I say. Like, everything that I do has to have a purpose. Because I don't like wasting time. So, I prioritize. So I have ADHD, so I have open projects all over. But I feel like there's a time and place for those things to be done. So if I don't finish it, I'll put it aside because I will finish it one day. I just can't finish it right now. I need to feel what I'm doing. So even when I'm writing creatively, when I'm writing poetry, I really it's something I have to feel. I just can't. You can give me a prompt, and that's okay. But I don't feel like my best work comes from prompts unless it's something that I feel. So I'll wake up out of my sleep and I'll start creating something. A vision will come to me. Something will come to me. I think a lot. So you may see me, if you do see me and I am like looking like I'm lost in the sauce, like just I am thinking like it is a master plan that's happening. That is just not just, oh, she look a little crazy. No, like something is baking. It's baking. And I am not ashamed to sit there and make it bake while people are around. You will see me and I will be looking a little spacey. I am baking.
Right.
And
Oh,
it's something is coming.
She's cooking. She's cooking. Get out that kitchen. She's cooking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
Well, I'm about to say I was gonna go ahead and ask the next question, unless you had more to say.
go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say, when you experience those like creative blocks, right? Because we all go through it. How did you push through those specifically? Like, and it doesn't even really have to be creative. It can just be any not obstacle, but any type of like internal block you have about approaching a situation. Like, how do you solve those normally?
So what I'll do is I write out what I want. I'm a big manifester, so everything mostly is written out. Chat GPT is a wonderful tool. So now I can put in what I'm envisioning and tell them what I want, and it'll make a plan for me. So I've been utilizing that a lot. Not to take away from my creativity, but just to kind of just give me some inspiration. But if I am having a block, I do not rush the process. I think that artistry you just cannot rush it, and I feel like that in life. You just can't rush everything. Like, you may not have an answer right now, you may not have what you need at the moment, but just take a break. Like, you may need to take a nap. Like, you need to go sit down. You need to go somewhere else. Like, just get away from it. And until it'll come to you. But that is like, I feel like art is our ministry, so it's going to come to us eventually, but we just can't rush the process, like. And so I'm big on not rushing, just being in a moment. So I may want something. Even if I'm creating like a dress, and I wanted to look a certain way, but it's not coming out. Like, put that thing in, sit it down. If I'm not finished a poem, I may write a poem, parts of it 6 months ago, and then I'll come back and I'll add it to something that I just thought about. And so now I created a whole poem. So everything, you don't have to do everything right away. Like, even if you're going to like open mics, lots of people will just try to go and just keep writing up. I got a new poem. I got a new poem. Like, you don't got to prove that to anybody. Like, read the same poem you used to do. Like, it may hit another way another time. So just don't rush stuff. But even going into creative spaces, I'm so blessed to have friends, that are now my family, that give me, inspiration, and just watching y'all, create and stuff like that. It gives me inspiration because I really study y'all, and so I watch everything that y'all do, even when y'all think I'm not. I'm paying attention, but I also am a seer, SEER. So I see things, and in that context, I figure out what how we can make this work into something that will advance us in our artistry. Like, how it can make us stand out. What can we be doing now? I even look at trends. even though I'm very guarded on social media, so I don't look in like my algorithm. I hope I'm saying that right.
Algorithm.
Is yeah, I fix that. If it's something I don't like, I gotta turn that off. Like I'm hiding stuff. I may unfollow people, or I may just hide them. I don't. I just very careful about what I put in my soul. And what you see is something you putting in your soul. So but I'm looking at different trends to see how we can incorporate it, but how we can just be who we are, and that's very important, to be authentic. We can still do these same things that other people do, but how we can do it the way we do it. And so it's very important that we stay true to ourselves.
Okay. All right. Well, guess what? You'll never guess. We're almost done.
Mm.
Crazy, right?
What?
It just flew by. We
We almost
almost
done.
done. You ain't even know it, did you?
Yeah,
You just,
and it was just flowing.
It was just flowing. I was, look, you was, I ain't even had to ask you nothing. Every time I'm like, I should ask this. You was like, and then I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, you got it. This is why I love my friends. I don't gotta say too much. They just know. All right, so these are fun questions, simple answers. What's on your playlist right now? What you listening to?
FYBR.
Oh my god.
So we just made a visual on YouTube, so y'all make sure y'all go check out our YouTube channel.
Fire.
But Trinity is one of the videos that we just created.
Fire.
And so that song is in rotation. But then XOXOD, she created a playlist for FYBR. Mm-hmm. So that's on my playlist. But I also do some driving for a living, and so when riders in my car, I have on lo-fi. So I got trap beat lo-fi,
that's me.
Stuff like that. But don't nobody know it's trap. They be just like, you seem like you an artist. Yeah, baby. Yeah,
baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just kind of do that in case people come in their car with children, or older people, or just people who just don't want to, like, I just try to create an atmosphere that is really relaxing, and people just start talking to me. It just, they just start telling me that life story, and I'll be like, dang, like, okay.
That's like every Uber I've ever been in my life.
But thank you for toot my horn. So yeah.
Well, if your life was a movie, what would be the title of it, and who would play you?
So I do want to have a movie one day.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I definitely. And if the movie comes out while I'm still alive, I want to play me. I don't think anybody can play me like I can play me.
I got Kayla.
You got Kayla? Okay,
Kayla.
My daughter Kayla.
Kayla would kill it.
Kayla can definitely.
Kayla would kill it.
My daughter Kayla. Yeah, Kayla can definitely play me.
Kayla would kill it.
Yeah, Kayla would kill it. Yeah. Yeah, Kayla. And you know what? Lyric a little quiet, but Lyric can do me too.
Yes.
Lyric can do me too. But yeah. Kayla is the epitome of me. So
that's a little you.
Yeah. Oh, we say the title. So I'm actually working on a project.
My favorite celebrity is what it's gonna be called.
It will be called I Am Who I Say I Am.
Ooh. Because
I think that I am very mysterious to people. They like, I like her, but she weird, but she's cool, but it's just always mysterious. And I've learned to like that about myself, that I am mysterious. And when I say, like, since I was little, I've always been like this, and I've always been mysterious, and I think I've always liked it myself. There has been times that I was like, but I think I've always embraced it, who I am. So I think that for me to tell people who I am is that most of the time when people are so doubtful, they don't realize who I am until I'm not there. And it takes a lot for me to not be there. So
let them know. Your presence is a gift, Queen.
It is a gift. It is definitely.
Yes. Clap on that.
And I'm not... I'm not tooting my own horn. It's just something that was born into me. I was born for a reason. So.
Well, just like that. Guess what we just did?
We just finished.
We just did the whole thing. Oh my God.
Ooh.
My favorite celebrity, Miss TeeKay in the building. Make some more noise. Come on. Come on. Once again, I'm gonna give you a little bit of time here to plug all of the things that you want to do and plug, where they can find you, and all that good information.
So I really, really want to let everybody know that we are having our second annual FYBR Festival. It is a carnival theme. So I'm gonna be in my carnival outfit, so y'all better get fly and sexy and all of the things, okay? All of the things.
She's gonna be out here with us.
So it's July 19th. So that is something that I'm really, really pushing. So any projects that I'm doing is tailored to networking so that I can get out to as many people as possible. So if you're an artist, if you're a vendor, and when I say vendors, you can be an artist, you sell paintings, but if you have different crafts as far as like food items, if you are a maker of any sorts, come out to the FYBR Festival, sign up. We need volunteers. We're definitely looking for youth artists and youth volunteers because we're going to have games this year. So we really need the community to come out, and we have been getting a lot of support this year because we did so well last year. So if there's anything that you could do is check out FYBR on Instagram. It's FYBR410. That is also our YouTube channel. Check it out. Check out my teammates. All of them, we are all fly and all of the things. But yeah, if you want to follow me, if you interested in art wellness, my Tamshandcrafts, I have a blog on my website, www.tamshandcrafts.com. It has different mental health things on there, ways that I cope and things that I'm continuously doing because I am a work in progress. I do not have it all together. I am still taking baby steps. So just know that you can do it. You do not have to be ashamed of your mental health and any issues that you have. Just embrace who you is and get the help and the essentials that you need, even if it is a pill that you need to take, because I'm going to take mine, okay? All right.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Get your mind right. Get your body right. Try to live in harmony. Yes. Align yourself. Nam Yorin get killed. The whole spiel. Ooh. You know how it go. We spiritual out here. We spiritualists. We don't tell everybody.
I say.
Not Foghorn Leghorn, but I say. You understand me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful conversation with the lovely Miss TeeKay. Again, my favorite celebrity. We're going to cue up the exit music. You know what? I didn't like that one. I'm going to use this one. Yeah, this is more my speed. This is more of a we about to get out of here type thing. Yeah. Look, we'll catch y'all on the next FYBR forecast. Stay tuned.
Hey.
If you miss it, it's on you. It ain't on me, baby. I'm just saying.
Catch the replay though. You can catch the replay.
Yes, VODs will be out. We love y'all.
Love you. Bye. Fuzzy fuzzies.